Hello and welcome. Today we'll talk about the themes of history and their relations to the Renaissance era. Let's start with the growth and change in societies or the Italian city-states. While the Renaissance began in Italy, the growth and change of societies were really seen and felt by the forming of the Italian city-states. The Italian city-states conducted their own trade, collected their own taxes, and made their own laws. Even in Florence, people elected their governor and the power was given to the republics or the richest families in the cities. During the Renaissance, board members ruled Italian city-states. These members were from wealthy families who always gained long-term control of the city. The growth of the societies came with the growth of the city-states, which were wealthy due to their trading routes. People from all over Europe came to northern Italy to buy, sell, and do their banking. Also, Venice was the most powerful city-state and it had hundreds of ships that controlled the trade routes in the Mediterranean Sea, so silk, spices, and perfume from Asia flowed into Venice. The creation of the Italian city-states increased the wealth in Italy, and so it created a boom in art, literature, and learning. Rich families paid for the creation of statues, paintings, beautiful buildings, and elegant avenues. They built new centers of learning, such as universities and hospitals. From the city-states of Italy, Renaissance ideas spread to the rest of Europe. This was the main cause of social changes as merchants brought ideas, cultures, and even languages and goods to Italy. Some Italian city-states even developed specializations. Florence became a center for cloth making and banking, Milan produced metal goods and armor, and the port city of Genoa was a trade center for ivory and gold from northern Africa. Moving on to the development of political institutions and ideas in the Medici family. During the Renaissance, Florence was ruled by the power through their wealth as they built palaces and were able to maintain a strong army. They also sponsored artists, writers, and musicians, who made beautiful work for Florence and made the city famous. One of the most powerful members of the Medici family was Lorenzo the Magnificent. A leading patron of art and scholarship, Lorenzo ruled Florence for more than 20 years, from 1469 until his death in 1492. After that, the Medici family was exiled and Machiavelli, a diplomat in Florence, wrote a book about the government and politics. He used his experiences to write The Prince, and he advised rulers to make their states strong by doing what works best, not by doing what is good or moral. He also wrote that rulers should be feared rather than loved. The book was contradicting humanist ideals about people's goodness, and it shocked many readers of the time. Yet, the book shows the influence of humanism on the government and politics and how both should not always interfere. It also separates ideas about government from ideas about religion, making The Prince a very modern work. Now let's talk about the belief system and humanism. During the Renaissance, a new interest in human life took place. The Renaissance emphasized humanism and involved a renewed interest in Greek and Roman art and culture. Humanism is a belief system that emphasizes human actions and places great value on human nature. Humanism started in Italy when people were interested in learning about the classical world. Artists and students of medicine started studying human anatomy, poets wrote about both religious subjects and everyday experiences, and writers produced works of history and studies of politics. Humanism also changed ideas about government in that it separated the state and its right to rule from the church and helped lay the foundation for modern thinking about politics and government. Moving on, the rise of civilizations and Renaissance art. While the Renaissance created many advancements in almost all aspects of life that are still influencing us today, a major achievement was credited to Renaissance art. The rise of the Renaissance civilization is greatly seen today in the artwork they left behind. The main advancement is the use of perspective, which created depth in paintings and artworks. Painters also learned that a feeling of depth could be created by lines that came closer. They also learned that shading can give objects depth to make them look 3D. The rise of civilization was also seen in how art showed all aspects of life during the Renaissance. Renaissance painters were influenced by the renewed interest in classical culture and the spread of humanism. They wanted to depict real people who were posed in lifelike ways and whose faces expressed emotions. So, they included realistic settings, and that led to the new style of painting. This also allowed rich families to contribute and give money to artists, poets, and everyone who wanted to make the city beautiful. Now let's talk about human-environment interaction and the growth of trade and commerce. The Renaissance brought the start of trading and made commerce take a new shape. From the start of the 11th century, trading between the Crusades, the Byzantine Empire, and the Muslim world all came flowing to Italy. This trade brought new ideas, new cultures, and new products to Italy. By the 13th century, the Mongols in Asia made trading routes safer for trade, and the Silk Road was the main route for safe trading and commerce. All this helped the growth of the Renaissance. The changes in society all happened when trading boomed. Food, art, and luxury goods, such as silk and spices, moved along the trade routes linking Europe to Africa and Asia. In Italy, Venice and Genoa were located at the center of the trade routes which linked Europe to the east. This increase in trade changed the societies during the Renaissance, and it allowed for the cities to grow wealthy. This kind of trading made people use coins, and this created a new economy with even currency exchange services. The final theme is the interconnectedness of societies and the Mercato Nuovo. The Mercato Nuovo was a new marketplace that was built in the 1500s. It was the center of Florence and it was known for cloth making and banking. The government at the time made sure the area stays clean for people to enjoy the market, as it was the key for people to buy goods and exchange ideas. So, the government banned food and weapons there because they wanted it to be clean and presentable to show that commerce was highly valued in Florence. The Mercato Nuovo became one of the largest financial marketplaces in Europe. People traveled from all over the world to get loans or to convert their money. This marketplace allowed societies around the world to become more connected and coherent with one another. Thank you for watching.